Hello? You play to win the game.
Welcome to the show where football is king.
If you want to crown them, then crown them.
It's 2 hours of all football.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
What, you think we talk about anything else on this show?
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
From Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. This is the Gridiron Show with Deshaun Isaac. Well, it's time for me to slap this mic on and talk some football with you here, and welcome to the Gridiron Show. It is proudly and very proudly presented by our friends at Theater People. And let me give them their love here. And it is proudly presented by our friends at the Theater People. Gridiron is the Theater People are Central Ohio's premier name in home and office technology. They will know what you need to have the best home setup on the block, and you can create your perfect football watching headquarters here as well. Because let's admit it, if you're going to do something at home, you're going to probably set up your perfect football watching headquarters. So call my friends at Theater People at 614-604-6327 or visit ttpcolumbus.com. And remember to amplify your personality with the Theater People. Man, we got a jam-packed show for you on today's docket. We got to talk about the AFC Championship. We got to talk about the NFC Championship. Both of those situations, I got a very interesting take on all of those games and all of what you need to see, all you need to know. So let's start with the elephant in the room. And it is something that I gotta admit here, when we were talking about the show and we're introducing the show, we wanted to do this right. So let's talk about this game here, and let's talk about this Green Bay Packers game. The Packers did lose to Green Bay. The Packers lost to the Buccaneers 26-31. Tampa Bay gets to do something that's never been done in the NFL. They will be hosting the Super Bowl in its home stadium. Never been done. Never, ever been done in 55 years. It's going to happen next Sunday. This Sunday we got the Pro Bowl. And since the Pro Bowl isn't officially a football game this week, I'm going to talk about it in passing, but let's talk about this game. Of course, I want to sum up this game. This game really boiled down to two things. Boiled down to one thing. Opportunity. The Packers missed a lot of opportunities. The Buccaneers took advantage of the opportunities given to them. As I looked at the, I printed out all the plays that was done in it. And it really told a story here. There was, Green Bay fans were pointing at 3 different plays. One before the half that gave Tampa Bay a touchdown. But I would like to point out here, and here's the thing. Green Bay played a really good game. This is not because Green Bay did not play a good game. They played a great game. They played a superb game. They played one of the better games they've played all season long, and that needs to be said. They played an amazing game. They deserve a lot of props. They deserve a lot of things that they did right. As a matter of fact, I got the stats. Because, what, you think I'm going to come in here and not have stats? You come in here for the stats. I got them. You got them. We all got them. I got the stats. So this is what I pulled out here. And he said, how much research you go through on this show? A lot. So I actually pulled up a lot of stuff that happened in the game. And one thing popped out in the score map that told me between the quarterbacks here. Now, Aaron Rodgers passed for more yards in this game, 314 to Brady's 275, But the thing that really stuck out to me was Aaron Rodgers and his sack situation. He was sacked 5 times for 32 yards. And these sacks came at very inopportune times. Example. I'll actually pull up some examples here. It was started real early in the game. Rodgers was in shotgun all the time. He was trying to get the guy going and get out of there. He was in shotgun formation. Rodgers was living on the shotgun. And the thing I noticed about this game as I looked through here was interceptions, bad plays, moments in the game where let's be real here. Where let's be honest. As we go into the first half here, it was brutal. It was a very brutal game here. You give up a touchdown, you get intercepted at your 33, second 17 at Green Bay's 33. They run it back to the Tampa Bay 49 for no gain. And Tampa Bay just march it down the field on you for a 39, for a touch from a Scotty Miller pass. And that Scotty Miller pass came with about 1 second left in the second. And Scotty Miller, and he just slots in a touchdown that puts you with 21-10, and you were behind by 11, by 2 possessions for the rest of the game. And everybody's pointing to this 4th and 8 saying, he should have gone for a touchdown instead of a field goal. He should have done this. He should have. That play right there, that play at 1 second left to Scotty Miller was the starting of the nail. It was not the nail in the coffin, but it pretty much closed up your coffin. Then we go to the second half here with Green Bay. And opportunities. They fumble the ball. They get themselves in a 3-possession situation. Then they fumble the ball at the 8. It was recovered at the Green Bay 29, runs it to the 21-yard line, and Jones was injured. So you lose your best running back in the game. So, oh yeah, you lose your best running back in this situation. You lose Jones in this whole little fumble, after that fumble, because we noticed Aaron Jones was injured in the game. He was really not a factor rushing in this game. He only had 4.5 yards. He only had 6 carries, but he would have been the lead factor in running in that game. But to me, it was a game where Green Bay had a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances, a lot of things that they could have done. But as I was sitting here this week, having to figure out what I'm going to say on this show, figure out what should I say on this show, it was that. Missed opportunities. So many missed opportunities in this game. It was just interesting. It was interesting to me that these missed opportunities were there. These missed opportunities where you could have had some great moments, some great games, some great things that could have happened in the game. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Packers fans. But I'm going to go back to that 4th and 8 because a lot of y'all been talking about that play. And rightfully so. It was a questionable call. It was a call that, to be honest with you, you look at the situation, you look at the whole situation, you look at it and you ask yourself, why in the heck are you doing that? Why did you make that move? Why did you do it? Why did you say, hey, I don't know why. I don't know why we made that move. I don't know why we said what we said. I don't know why we did what we did. I don't know why we said what we said. I don't know why we made that decision. But I look at that decision, and it was a weird situation all around. It should have not even been done. But I'm going to show you something here in this game, and I dove deep into what happened. Green Bay had a chance to win it. They did. Let's go all the way back to 9:15 in the fourth quarter. And this is why Green Bay lost this game. This whole thing, what happened here, started the whole decline. It really started the decline. It really, really was the decline. So, you had Rodgers sacked. Then he had 2 incomplete passes, one to Lazard, one to Valdez-Scantling. So 3 and out, and you had to punt it at your 24. But Deshaun, why are you looking at this drive at 9:15 in the game where it was a minute and 5, but it was all that? Because right after that, they score a field goal on a 3-minute, 28-yard, an 8-play, 44-yard field goal that took 3 minutes and 28 seconds off the clock, making it a 2-possession game. So, I found that interesting. So, you had a chance to do it. You had a chance to make some points. You had the chance to do what you needed to do, but you failed. You failed, my friend. And you failed miserably. Yet, here we are. Here we are. Here we are talking about, you want to talk about the missed field goal, the missed opportunity of a field goal where you were on 4th and 8 at Tampa Bay's 8. You had so many opportunities in this game. Tampa Bay took those opportunities. They did exactly what they needed to do. They did exactly what they had to do. Yet, you want to cry about a field goal. What about the 3 and out before that? What about the fumble that led to a touchdown? What about your atrocious offense in the second quarter? Huh? You don't want to talk about that? Because to me, as I'm looking at this, this was a atrocious game. You gave up in their opening drive a touchdown that set you down 3 possessions, and you were just chasing for points afterwards. You had a fumble at the Green Bay 8, at your 30, where you could have stopped them. You could have done something, but no. You could have done something. You could have been something, son. But you did nothing. And you want to be what you are, but you are what you are in this game. And the Packers just did not take advantage of those opportunities there. It was a game of missed opportunities. It was a game where let's be real. We talk about it, we say what we want to say about it, but let's be real. Football is a game of inches. No game really showed that more than Aaron Rodgers there. Because when you compare it to their rushing, Leonard Fournette, who had 12 carries for 55 yards in this game, he was only averaging 4.6 yards a carry. He may have had his longest run was for 20 yards. All the other rushers really weren't not factors. You look at Green Bay, if you took out after the Aaron Jones injury, he was only averaging 4.5 runs a game. His longest run was 12. Jamal Williams' longest run was 12. Jay Dillon had a long run of 9. Altogether, they were averaging about 4. Your running game was averaging 4.2 yards. So Green Bay had the advantage on running. They had the advantage on passing. Defensively speaking, it was fumbles. Aaron Jones lost that fumble that led to 7 points. Devlin White ran it, took it back to the 8, and added a chance for a touchdown. So I find that rather interesting. I find that rather interesting in that game. And as I look back at this game, there's one thing that I need to point out here. I need to say this. I would try for the touchdown, but at that point, it was like, do you want to die by violently or with a whimper? They chose with a whimper. And sometimes when you choose a fight with a whimper, they would have said, we had a chance, we had an opportunity. As you looked at that the drive before, he probably had the drive before in his head, and he was like, I don't trust you to push the ball there. So in the end, the Buccaneers just decimated Green Bay at the right times in this game, and it just looked like that the Buccaneers and Tom Brady had the opportunities to do what they wanted to do in this game and really drive it to where they wanted to go. So my question for Green Bay is this. It doesn't matter if Brady's back there or Love or whomever is back there, because we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers coming up in the show a little later on in the show, because he took a stop by the QB travel agency. You have to protect the QB. Rodgers was sacked for 5 times 32 yards. And he was sacked at inopportune times. It was a moment where you have to put pride in what you do. And if you can't put pride in what you do, then what the heck are you doing? I don't know. I don't know what I can say to y'all and really, really emphasize this to you. You here, because I really wish that I could tell you all this stuff here. I wish I could really, really drive this home to you guys. That was a killer. It was a killer in that game. So we're going to take a little break here. And when we come right back, I'm going to talk about you know what? Missed opportunities there. That's just how that game works. And that's just how that game goes. So when we come right back, I got to talk about the Buffalo Bills here, because the Bills is a different story. Somebody, the Bills have an issue, and we'll talk about the Bills' issue. I'll talk about it all here, but when we come right back, I got to talk about that. And when we come right back here on the show, we got so much more to do and so much more to talk about. It is the Gridiron Show, presented by the Theater People, right here on Score on Air, the next generation sports talk. I'll be right back right after this. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the football show. that you need to watch. This is the Gridiron Show, presented by the Feeder People, right here on Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. My name is Deshaun Isaac, and I'm so happy to be with you here, talking a little football. Of course, if you want to talk some football with me, I have the Instagram up. I have the Facebook up. I want your comments. I want to read what you have to say out there. Thank you for making us a part of your day. Wherever you're joining us, I am so happy to be with you wherever you are. So as we're here and we're talking and we're doing our show and we're having fun, I want to talk about the Buffalo Bills. Well, let's talk about the game everybody wants us to talk about here. The AFC Championship game. The Kansas City Chiefs, they are your champions. And let's be real. Did you expect anybody else to be the champions in the AFC? Did you really think the Bills had what it takes here? I'm going to show you why the Bills, compared to the Kansas City Chiefs, aren't where I thought they would be at. Let's be real. They're not where I believe they should be at. So let's talk. So let's go over there. Now I'm going to give you the battle of the quarterbacks here. Josh Allen had 287 yards. He's averaged 6 yards a pass. He had 2 TDs, 1 interception on the game. But he was sacked, and he was sacked big. 4 sacks for 53 yards. 4 sacks for 53 yards. Yikes. That is a bad number to have. Because if you're getting sacked that much, and I'm just saying here, you're getting sacked that hard, I don't know, man. I don't know if you should be very proud, very fine with what you're doing. It is what it is. I shouldn't be mad at you. But, hey, you got sacked so many times in that game. It was brutal. It was a brutal, brutal, brutal watch. But here's the thing as well. If you missed the game, the Buffalo rushed for 129 yards in this game. 88 of those yards belonged to Josh Allen. He was averaging 12.6 yards a carry, as long as it was 18, but he was getting yardage but he was getting a first down every run. There are 3 actual running backs, or if you could do the math, okay, which I can't off the top of my head. That means, for the most part, he was their offense. He was their offense. That is not good. In fact, why did the calculator pop up over here? I want to pop up that calculator one over here. 129 minus 88 equals. That means the rest of your offense, your 3 rushing guys, your 3 guys that you have, your 3 running backs that you had paid to rush the ball, could only give you 41 yards in a championship game. 41 yards. That tells me Buffalo do not trust Singletary, Yeldon, and McKenzie. They trust Singletary. Singletary was averaging 2.8 yards, while Josh Allen was averaging 12.5 yards a rush. You had Devin Singletary. He only gave you 2.8 yards a carry for his 6 rushes for 17 yards. TJ Yeldon, you only gave it 3 times to him for 15 yards. He gave you 5 yards a carry. He was probably your best running back who is supposed to be a running back. And then you have Isaiah McKenzie. He was given the ball only 2 times for 9 yards, but you had Josh Allen throw it for 48 times in the game for 287 yards. Of course, ended up being 20 for 48, 234. That just tells me one thing about your whole situation. You need to get running help for him. You need to get actual running help for him. And what that means to me is he was not, as much as you thought he was the guy for running that day, you need to get some running help around him. And there could be some good running backs out there. as much as this has been a system where we've been saying that the Bills really did not have that running back that could punch it in and turn those field goals into touchdowns. Here's my breakdown on this game, and here's what I seen. The Bills unfortunately brought field goals to a TD fight, and they got killed. And just like Buffalo Bill, it was not good. Chiefs, they started slow in that game, and let's be honest, they started real slow. They did not get going to that till about the second quarter, and once they got going, they got going. In fact, Mahomes was 29 for 38, 325 yards, and it was a true 325, as he averaged about 2 yards more than Josh Allen did. He had 3 touchdowns, no picks, and he was sacked one time, but it was for 0 yards. It was a very, very quality game from Mahomes, and you had him as your main, while Josh Allen was their main rusher, you had a more effective running game you had a much, much more effective running game with Darrell Williams, McCole Hartman, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Patrick Mahomes. Even though Darrell Williams had 13 carries for 52 yards. His longest was 13. He had 1 touchdown a day. Edwards-Helaire, he punched it in for a touchdown after McCole Hartman punched it for a 50-yard run as well. What that tells me is you have a good running game. And if we're comparing running games against each team here, that tells me the Kansas City Chiefs are a very well-rounded team. They can get the job done. And don't get me started on their receiving core. Woo! Woo! Their receiving core was very interesting because you had McCole Hartman is like a short yard guy. He was doing what he needed to do there. He was catching. He had a 3-yard pass and a 1-yard pass, but it was 4 yards, but it equaled a touchdown there. So he had a good game. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. My God. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, the best wide receiver, tight end combination in the game for Kansas City. Kansas City did a hell of a job in that game. I did a little math here. And I love this because you had 172 plus. That's 290 yards. Pretty much, you had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce responsible for 2 touchdowns. Of course, Travis Kelce was responsible for 2 touchdowns, but those 2 together were responsible for 290 yards of the 325 yards the Kansas City receiving unit had out there. That is a crazy stat to believe there. Even though Buffalo's receiving was more spread out, the Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce killed them on that. And it was just absolutely brutally, it was brutal efficiency all around. Which, when you understand, yeah, that was a little scary there. See, I'm loving that little. We got a new little board that I can just press in. Yeah, it's a little scary here for them. So, as I'm looking at this game here, and I'm looking at the numbers and the stats, while, yes, there was 1 fumble from the Kansas City team, McCole Hartman, he fumbled it and lost it 1 time. The truth is, Kansas City was just amazing. Was the better team out there today. And no, it was just they were better. There was no Buffalo interceptions. There was 1 Kansas City interception for 30 yards. Rashad Fenton. And the thing I'm looking at here is with this team, is KC, they imposed their will. It took a little late, but man, when they imposed their will, Buffalo had no answer for it. In fact, when did they impose their will, Deshaun? In my turning point play of the game here, it was actually pretty early because at 6:14 in the first, Buffalo was up 9-7. In fact, KC scored a touchdown. So the muff catch in the fumble Hartman had was a muff catch. It was recovered by Jones at the KC 3. They punched it in for a touchdown. Everything looked good here. But then KC just lowered the boom. Here. They start lowering the boom here. And it really started early on. They scored a touchdown. That was a 14-play, 80-yard drive at 6:58 in the first quarter. And it just drove that clock down and it to the point where by the time we hit the second quarter, it was second goal at the 3, and they got that touchdown in. They punted off, and Buffalo couldn't do anything, and then KC just really inflicted their will, scoring 21 unanswered. They scored 21 unanswered after Buffalo put up 9. Kansas City put up 21 unanswered points to win that game in the first quarter, in that first half. After that second quarter, they just inflicted their will, and it was so good to watch them do that. And to me, I got to give props to it's Andy Reid's game. It's going to be Kansas City. They're going to get a chance to do something with that. And I don't know. I'm excited for that, but I'm also a little nervous for him. But as we look at that game, I want to point out something here. It's time for me to start talking about the Super Bowl. Where are you at, Super Bowl? Super Bowls. But after that, I need to talk about that. They need to get running help for Josh Allen because, as I said, they were able to shut down the alleys where they were able to push the issue with the Bills. Allen was the leading rusher with 88 yards. Their key difference was field goals to touchdowns. But before I talk about the game, let me talk about this here. Because, man, I need to talk about this. This is a big deal for us here on Score on Air. I hope I did it. Did I? Yes, I did. So, we'll talk about the Super Bowl in a moment. But I want to talk about Hartley Hawks basketball. Bishop Hartley Hawks fly on Score on Air. We'll have all the Hartley home basketball games on Score on Air. Next Tuesday, the Hartley Hawks boys basketball have a challenge on their hands when they face DeSales in a rivalry on the court. Then on Thursday, the girls take on Bishop Reedy in a big matchup. Both of those games starts at 7:30 on the Bishop Hartley YouTube page and on scoreonair.com. We'll have the links on our social media as well. And if you forgot our social media, you need to know this. You need to understand where our social media is. Just a reminder, our social media is your Score on Air Network, Score on Air, Score on Air Network, YouTube, and Score on Air. If you want to hit us up, so just a reminder, if you want to join us there, we're online and we're everywhere where you need us to be. So go follow us wherever you're watching us, and I appreciate you doing what you're doing. So let's talk about Super Bowl LV. Because it's 6:30, game's on 10 TV. The early favorite right now is Chiefs by 3. I'm not going to give you my pick right now, but I'm going to give you my feelings about the game here. Before we go to break here, the early news so far is we know that the Chiefs are going to be wearing the red jerseys, of course, the white jerseys, since Tampa Bay is the home team, is not the home team, but they'll get the opportunity to wear their home white imputers at home. Now, what the Chiefs need to do to win this game. Now, I'll talk about what the Chiefs need to do and the Buccaneers need to do coming up later on in the show. But that's some early news I saw so far. Also, if you're heading to the game, and there ain't going to be too many in that game, there is a mask mandate for the outdoor areas as well in the NBA. So it's just so interesting to see all around what's going to happen with that. But to me, it's just very interesting to see as I talk about this. You have the Buccaneers. So pretty much as we talk about this, I need to talk about this story here. This is an ESPN story. And we talk about gambling. We will talk about a little gambling here. Professional bettor Mark DeRosa, he was on a plane back from Atlantic City after last year's Super Bowl when he got a clear picture of what will turn out to be one of the biggest scores of his career. DeRosa believed Tom Brady was going to leave New England in the offseason. Tampa Bay was the most likely landing spot. Sports books disagree and listed the Buccaneers around 51 in their odds where Brady would play in the 2020 season. Bookmakers made Brady return to New England the heavy odds-on favorite. The books were pricing it like a 75% chance that he returned to New England. I thought there was a 75% chance that he didn't return, so the market was really way off. While in Atlantic City for the Super Bowl, DeRosa placed two $500 bets with DraftKings on Brady playing with the Buccaneers at 50-1 and a 40-1. And then on the plane back to Florida, he decided that he wanted to go get down more with Tampa Bay to win the NFC and Super Bowl the following season. He would need to convince his old college friend and betting partner, Zach White, that the Bucs were a good bet. Now, this is a very interesting story because that right there was not a possibility. Nobody thought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be right where they are, but they are. But that's how it worked. He said he talked me quite into it while White, a respected better in LV, his reasoning was pretty much came down to Brady was going to be there. White asked DeRosa what he thought of the chances Brady landed in Tampa Bay. He said, because if he doesn't, this bet is pretty much awful. And DeRosa remembered that 2008 story between the rift between Brady, Patriot coach Bill Belichick, and owner Robert Kraft. August 2019, DeRosa read that Brady has put his Massachusetts match up for sale, and he thought it was meaningful that the six-time quarterback has let his contract run out for the first time in his career. He believed that Tampa Bay, because of Bruce Arians' displeasure with the turnover-prone Wisden and a roster loaded with playmakers, warm weather, and lack of state income tax was only a handful of fits for him. So he made a bet. Tampa Bay Buccaneers was a $3,500 was a 3,500 to 1 favorite, 35,000 to 1. That means if he put some money down, it cost $8,000. Let's say if this happens and they win the NFC Championship, he was guaranteed nearly $250,000, $280,000. Guess what? They won, and he's collecting $288,000. So he put that bet down, $8,000. Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the NFC Conference Championship. When Rose and White were done betting, they had around $20,000 invested in the Bucs at odds around 65-1 to win the Super Bowl and 35-1 to reach the NFC title. They each took smaller positions on a few teams. On the Los Angeles Chargers, White's on the Saints, but their biggest and largest investment was on the Bucs. On March 20, Brady signed a 2-year deal with the Buccaneers, whose Super Bowl odds improved dramatically at Sportsbook. When the season kicked off, Tampa Bay was around a 10-1 to win the Super Bowl and 5-1 to win the NFC. just as DeRosa anticipated. Midway through the season, things didn't look great for the Bucs. They lost 3 of the 4 in November, including a 38-3 blowout to the Saints, fall to 7-5. There was a bit of frustration, but it's the NFL, man. You don't count anyone out to end. So he made his money. So he said we have about $11,000 or so to win $400,000 on the NFC Championship. Then we got another $8,000 or $9,000 to win the Super Bowl at 60 to 1. So I'm calculator time again. So here's the thing. He won $288,000. Then this time, kids, because hey, DJs can't do math here. He could win if this let's say it's 9,000. He put about 9,000 here. Let's say he put 9,000 here. I'm being very, very nice. Times 65 equals. He could win. Let's say the Buccaneers go all the way next week. In about a couple weeks here. And I'll tell you my pick next week here. He could win $585,000. Crazy, right? Well, that's what it looks like here. Very interesting scenario, very interesting situation all around. If you're betting that much money, man, that is some beautiful money to have. Well, you know what? Since we got beautiful money to have, how about this? I got the rest of the show to do. We'll talk a lot about the Texans situation because the Texans situation is weird. It has gotten very interesting with the Texans. I'll talk all about the Texans coming up next in my next block here. You are watching WSOA right here in Columbus. We are Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk and the home of this great show. We continue on right after this. Stay tuned.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Welcome to the show where football is king.
If you want to crown them, then crown them.
It's 2 hours of all football.
But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
What, you think we talk about anything else on this show?
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
From Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. This is the Gridiron Show with Deshaun Isaac.
And how you doing, Columbus? Great to have you aboard. My name is Deshaun Isaac. This is that show. It is the Gridiron Show. We are talking football as we always do here on this show. And I'm so happy to have you aboard. Of course, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your sister, tell your aunts, tell your cousins. This is the show where we talk football all day on this show. And we are going to start off with some news about the Houston. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to start this segment about the Houston Texans because originally I thought these Texans weren't going to make a move. I honestly thought the Houston Texans were going to be a strange situation. In fact, I had this whole segment planned because it was a case of the Texans coaching search. The QB wants out, the front office is questionable, and the team was 4-12. Do you want to coach for them? I would have not wanted to coach for them. They were even talking about Josh McCown and all these weird situations. But we have to talk about the big story today because we actually got some breaking news on that coaching search. They have actually made a hire in that coaching search because Dan Culley was hired as the new Texas head coach today. Culley is a longtime assistant with the Texans. He's been in the NFL for 24 years. It was a solid hire. He's done a little assistant head coaching. He's done a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He really, really, really is a guy that could. He really is a guy that knows that organization, know it well, understands what he's looking at, understands that he's a good coach. He's not a horrible coach there. The thing is, he can't, like, the situation is also, just at the same time David Culley was hired as a new Texans head coach, the other shoe dropped in the whole story. Watson officially declared he wanted out of Houston. I don't think David Culley would have changed the mind, but the mindset here is more Culley was going to be having to do a rebuild here. Now, Deshaun Watson has requested a trade. Yes, Culley's a good coach, but the situation is also that Culley, longtime coach. He started as a Buccaneer wide receiver coach. He goes to the Steelers, coached a couple years with them. He was the Eagles' primary but wide receivers coach. He was also a senior offensive assistant from 2011-2012. He was the Bills' QB coach. He was a Ravens assistant head coach and passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach. So he done a lot of assistant head coaching over the last few stops here. So all but 2 years, and for the last couple years, he's been an assistant head coach. So he understands a little bit of what the coach does and the assistant head coach and what the head coach has to do in the team. And in that situation, well, we're taking off the assistant in this situation. They're going to make him a head coach in this league. David Culley is a very fine guy. I don't know a lot about him. A lot of people don't know a lot about him. But what if David Culley would be the guy that keeps Watson in Houston? Heck no. I think they realize that Watson wants out. They really cannot say anything. They do have a few things in their favor, but also Watson has a few things in his favor as well. I want to bring this up here. So Watson has a few things in Houston favor. Watson is under contract till 2025. His contract is about $100 and something million. That is big. They could realistically hold his rights until 2028 for another 7 years. Will they hold his rights for another 7 years? We don't know. But that's the situation. He's under contract right now. They could hold his rights to 2028. Now, Watson has a few things. Now, they could also fine him for missed practices and just let him sit. They'll even say, hey, do you want to retire? They could even force him in a situation where he could retire. Now, things that are there in Watson's favor is he has a no trade clause. He could simply just not show up. And teams are offering things for him. They have huge offers for him right now. There are teams that really would want this guy. They don't know what they're going to do. What could they do for him? What could they do to get Watson? A lot of things could be done to get Watson. What I would do, and who would realistically get him, is this. Who would get him? I don't know who would get him. My feeling is, where would I put him? He'd been saying he wants to go to the Jets. I think the Jets are a good fit for him. We have a lot of coaches. There were 7 head coaches that were fired during this cycle, 3 during the 2020 season, 4 after the regular season. Now, every team has hired their new coaches. With that, all teams have now hired their new coaches with Culley being hired. So, So let's go over these real quick here. And I want to go over them real quick here because I feel that if I go over them, I want to go over the coaching situations because with Culley being hired, I think Watson needs to go to New York. I think that's his best spot for him. So that's where I think he needs to go. So the Los Angeles Chargers, they hired Brandon Staley. The Detroit Lions, they tapped New Orleans Saints assistant Dan Campbell as their coach. They tapped the Eagles tapped Nick Sirianni as their new head coach. And then you had Baltimore Ravens hiring Culley. Of course, you had Urban Meyer first to drop, and then Robert Saleh and Arthur Smith also being new coaches. Now, on all these coaches, I think the one that I'm looking at, and I got to be honest here, as I'm looking at this whole situation, the situation is, it's a good hire, but it's not the wow, keep me here hire. I think things are changing higher. I just don't think it's a good fit there. I don't think Sirianni can get, I'm looking at these coaches. It was very interesting altogether, so I'm very interested to see how that works. But we're going to be talking a lot more here and about the show in a moment. But I'm running against a break here. I need to take a break because when I come right back, I got to open up my travel agency. Yeah, the QB travel agency. I'll tell you where I will put quarterbacks and where they should go. Coming up next. I've been actually excited about doing this all week, so we'll get right back at it. Coming up next on the show, this is the show, and this is the Gridiron Show, right here on Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk, and your home of Hartley Hawks Sports. Remember, we got 2 games next week with them. One on Tuesday where a very high pick could be, a very high college pick could be there as well on the sell side. We're going to talk all about that. They'll talk all about that as the game gets closer and so much more. And I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Well, this is the Gridiron Show. You know, I do this all the time. I was doing some work on the screen, but I got to open up my travel agency coming up, but we're going to do that in a moment. But I want to remind you of some great stuff that's coming to Score on Air coming up in a bit here. We have a great event coming up. But we'll tell you about that coming up. But, man, I got to be real with you here. There's a lot of football news going on, and I wanted to dig more onto this coach situation. Andy Reid did speak up about it. He said, I'm glad to have him for at least another season. I'm not so glad that I have him. He said, I was really hoping to have an opportunity to take one of these jobs. He would have an opportunity to take one of these jobs. You know, guys, know what I think of him. I think he's great. I think he would be great for any number of teams that open up and help them win football games and just also develop man into man. I just think he's a great person. Bieniemy, in his third year as the chief coordinator, interviewed for 6 head coach openings this season. He also interviewed for multiple openings in the previous 2 seasons. one of Reed's former assistants, David Coley, did land a head coaching job with the Houston Texans. Coley coached for Reed for 18 seasons, including for 2013-2016 with the Chiefs as receiver coach. David will do a good job. He's a people person. He'll bring energy to that building. One of the most loyal guys I've ever been around. He said he's a great person. We worked together for 18 years. We had a few cheeseburgers together. Of course, cheeseburgers, not a bad idea. But I got to open up my travel agency, folks. My travel agency is for quarterbacks who could throw the mile. You could throw the mile, but let us take you to your next mile here. And I got quarterback names that need to be understood here. I got a list of quarterbacks and where they should go. So let's check out teams and let's tell you their quarterbacks and their whole situation. Let's start with this guy right here. I'm going to show you my first guy that I really, really want to show my first customer has just walked in. Who's my first customer that walked into my shop, into my new shop? Oh, this guy right here. Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger enters into my shop. He's currently the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has a $41 million hit next year. Where do I want to send him? You know what, Ben? I'm going to send you off to a beautiful beach somewhere. I'm going to send you off to a beautiful beach. I'm going to send you to Hawaii. No, not to the Pro Bowl. But I'm going to send you to Hawaii. How about Barbados? How about the Bahamas? How about somewhere that isn't a football field because you are a liability to the Pittsburgh Steelers? And it is crazy that the Pittsburgh Steelers are considering keeping you even with a $41 million cap hit. Ben Roethlisberger's vowed to work with team on a $41.2 million cap hit for next season is untenable. A matter of both Roethlisberger and team president Art Rooney II he said, Ben wants to come back. We've left that door open. I think we've been upfront with Ben and letting him know that we couldn't have him back under the current contract. I think he understands we have some work to do there. We'll have more conversations internally. We'll have more conversations with Ben, and we'll know what the cap number is to finalize some of those decisions. Ben added that he doesn't care about my pay at all this year. I think he said with Ben, we owe it to him to have a conversation about how he wants to end his career, and we intend to do that. To achieve cap relief and give Roethlisberger at least one more season to end on his own terms, the Steelers could add the quarterback to take a pay cut in the final year of a contract. The Steelers already prorated $22 million of his contract, leaving just $19 million, a $4 million in base salary, and $15 million roster bonus to work out in a pay cut or restructure. The likely option is extension and restructure that spread out some of that cap hit into the 2022 season. As of now, the Steelers have 3 quarterbacks on the roster for 2021, Roethlisberger, Mason Rudolph, and newly signed Dwayne Haskins. Rooney acknowledged that he needs to add another single caller, potentially putting him in the sweepstakes for one of those available big-time quarterbacks if they can configure the cap space to be accommodating. So Ben, what that sounds like to me, buddy, Ben, what it sounds like to me is you have a situation. You want to go somewhere. I think you need to go onto a beach. You want to stay with the Steelers. The Steelers doesn't want you. I think you're a liability. I think you need to go. Enjoy a beach in the Bahamas. He needs to retire. He's done enough there. Okay? You've done enough, my friend. You've done more than enough to earn a beach in the Bahamas. So, my next quarterback in. I wonder who's going to be the next quarterback in. Who's my next quarterback in? Oh, Okay, who's coming in? I don't know who's coming in next. I always have these quarterbacks pop in. Who's my next quarterback coming in? Jimmy G? Well, okay, Jimmy. Okay, you need help on finding a new spot for you. Here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be with the 49ers. I'm sorry, man. I don't think the 49ers are fit for you. So, how about this? How do you feel about clam chowder? How do you feel about Bill Belichick? You feel pretty good on both of those things? How about Boston sports? How do you feel about being the man in Boston, in New England conversation? Oh, you feel good on that. Okay, I got a situation for you. You need to go home to the New England Patriots. You have a coach that wants you so badly. You have an ownership that now really needs a quarterback. And if you could put the pressure on them, they're going to try to get you a few new shiny items. So my boy Jimmy G, I like you, buddy. I like you very much. I think you're great. I think you're fabulous, man. I think I'm a big fan of your work. Let's get you to New England. I think you'll like that, right? New England? Sure. He's going to New England, everybody. He's very happy about going to New England. I think he's very happy with New England. I think I'm happy with it, too, here. All right, next quarterback on my list. Who am I supposed to visit with? Who's the next quarterback I need to be talking to? Who do I need to be talking to? Who's the next quarterback I need to be talking to? I don't know. Who's this quarterback I need to be talking to? I don't know who I'm supposed to be talking to. Oh, Dak Prescott. Dak's buddy. The blue and white of Dallas, the big star don't respect you. You need to be paid like a big star. You need to go to a city that respects you, my friend. Let's take you to a city that respects you. I want to put you in a city that respects you, my friend. So, my thought here, and my thought at the Deshaun QB travel agency, where you could throw it a mile, but let us take you to your next mile, and I think you need to go to a next mile. Let's get you away from Dallas ASAP, because Dallas isn't going to pay you the money you deserve. That's right, I'm saying it. Dallas will not pay you the money you deserve. They won't. If they were going to pay you the money you deserve, you should have been paid last year. I want to take you to a beautiful city. A city where if you like dip, do you like Chicago dog? Do you like good hot dogs? Do you like Italian beef? Do you like deep dish pizza? Do you like cold conditions? I know you might not like cold conditions. Bear with me here. Do you like dominating defenses that can, with stars, you could throw it to, and you can automatically become the best quarterback in a city, period. You could automatically become the greatest quarterback in a city, period, by you just stepping on the field. Chicago and the Chicago Bears. That's where I would send you, my friend. So, Dax, I would send you to Chicago to be with the Bears. You would automatically become the best quarterback possible in that city. And I think you are a great quarterback. It's just I don't think you're going to be a great quarterback with that team. I don't think that the best quarterback right now is you there. So, let's go to Chicago, my friend. You'll be okay. I think you'll be just fine being in another market than Chicago. Next team. Who's my next quarterback that's going to step into the Deshaun QB travel agency? And while I'm talking about my travel agency, I gotta thank the people who I got to talk about something else here before we go deeper into we got to talk about this. We got to talk about the CBJ Cup here before we continue on into the Deshaun Isaac QB travel agency here. I got to talk about this real quick here as we continue on. I got to talk about the CBJ Cup. The CBJ Cup is coming, and Score on Air is your home for the Capital Hockey Conference's CBJ Cup Final Four weekend. On February 13th and 14th, we will be broadcasting the semifinals and the finals of this well-respected cup, the Blue Jacket Cup, with all the best area high school hockey teams in the area. We will have two games on Saturday, one game in the championship on Sunday. That's all on Score on Air. If you want to keep up with what's going on with it, remember, you can check out Score on Air on social media if you want to find out what's coming up next in this whole thing, because let's admit it, you want to find out what's going on.
In sports,
go on our social
you want to have a player that can get the job done
Check
right
out
every time.
your Score on Air.
A real all-star,
Score on
somebody
Air,
that's
your
dependable
Score on
and you can
Twitter,
turn to when
Score on
the
Air,
game's tough. That
Instagram,
player in
and
the
Score on Air
audio-video
network
industry
is where you can watch
From setting up your home's Wi-Fi network.
happen. So there you go. You could watch all that happen before your eyes. I'm excited about it. I hope you are as well. Again, if you want to check that out, you can check that out over on our social media. That's your Score on Air. Your Score on Air on Instagram and on Twitter, and Score on Air on Instagram as well. Well, I got quarterbacks that still want to enter this crazy office of mine. I don't know who's next. I don't know who's the next quarterback that wants to enter my office. I don't know who's about to enter my office now. So I got to see who's about to enter this office here. I got to see who it is. Who's the next quarterback that's entering my office? Who's entering my QB? Oh, I'm sorry I talked crap about your team earlier. I didn't talk crap about your team. Your team did play like crap. But here's the thing. I like where you are right now, man. Aaron, I like where you are right now. You're doing good. In fact, I would put you right where you are right now. I think where you are right now is the perfect spot. I think you should stay a Green Bay Packer for a long, long, long time to come. Maybe not too long, but long enough where you could feel very good about yourself. And I think it will be, for everybody who loves you, would love to see you there. You have the stats. You have the stroke. You have the legacy. In fact, regular season, postseason doesn't matter. You are good. But you want to be respected. And I feel you. I feel you, Aaron. I feel you. So let's come up with an option here, because let's say Green Bay doesn't try to pull a Brett Favre here. What do we do here? What if they pull a Brett Favre? What if they pull a Brett Favre? Where should you go? Well, we know Breeze is gone, so let's put you in New Orleans just in case. You'll have your best wide receiver. You have your best running back. And I know you believe that your current running backs are very good, but Alvin Kamara is next level. He will make sure you don't get hit. Now, the Saints do have to upgrade that offensive line a little bit, because you are a pocket QB. You like to pass in the pocket. So where I would send you, my friend, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Rogers, I want you in Green Bay. I really, really do. And You have become a meme here at the Score on Air Network at WSOA here in Columbus. But I would really like you to stay with the Green Bay Packers. But if not, I think you should go to New Orleans, my friend. Go to New Orleans. I think you'll be okay there. I think they'll treat you right. I think they'll treat you right there. So, I gotta find another. So, let me see who else is entering the office. There's 2 other people I gotta wait for. Damn it. Okay. Damn it. Who's the next person I gotta wait for? Who is this person I gotta wait for now? Crap. Ugh. Let's see. Who's the next guy coming in? I hope he's a better quarterback. He's misguided right now, but let's see who needs to enter the quarterback here. Who's entering my office here? Who's the next quarterback that needs to enter it? Sam Darnold? What are you doing here? Why are you here? Okay. Oh, I know why you're here. You're hearing Deshaun Watson wants to be where you are. So we need to find a space for you. You know, originally, I think you do need to go out of New York. I think, here's the situation with you, buddy. I think you need to leave New York. Okay? I think you need to leave NYC. Nothing wrong with NYC, just may not be the place for you. Okay? I'll be real with you. It may not be the perfect place. In fact, it may not be the best place in the world for you. I would even say, with certainty, you deserve better. I think you deserve a lot better. So where would I send you? I don't know. That's the weird question. I think you deserve better, my friend. So, here's where I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you to Houston. I think you need to become a Houston Texan. I think with this new coach, I think you give David Chanley a very good opportunity. And I think you'll see a lot less ghost up in Texas. I think in Texas, you'll see a whole lot less ghost, and you'll see a whole lot less opportunities for you to really be an issue. So where I'm sending you, my friend, is I'm going to send you to the Houston Texans. I hope you enjoy it. It may not be perfect for you, but let's see where you go from here, buddy. Well, I got one more quarterback I got to visit. And who's the next quarterback I got to visit here? Who is the next quarterback I got to have here? I don't know. Who's the next quarterback I got to sit down with here? And we talk about it. Who's the next quarterback I got to sit down with? Because we got to see who we got to talk about. Who's the next quarterback I got to sit down with here? Because, we talk to these quarterbacks all the time. They're very confused. They're very, 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 very vulnerable right now. They want to do things. They want to be a better quarterback, but I just don't think it's the best opportunity here. Let's open image here. Let's see who you are. I don't know who's the next quarterback. I'll pop it. Let's talk to him anyway. So, who is the next quarterback that's popping into my office? I kind of figured you were going to pop back in. Yeah, you were one of my first jobs last year. Cam Newton. Cam, we have an issue. I don't know where exactly to send you. We thought the Patriots way was going to be perfect for you. We seen that maybe not. Maybe it's not the way for you. Maybe this is not the way for you. And I don't think there's a lot of places that would like to that want you. So you may not like where I'm about to send you here. I think you might need to be on the couch for a bit. And listen, you are a good quarterback. It's just with how you've been playing the last couple years, man, I don't know where I could send you reliably that I think is a great option for you, man. So I'm so sorry, man. I wish I could send you somewhere better. I wish I could send you to a better quarterback situation for you. But I got to be honest with you. I don't know which quarterback situation would be perfect for you, man. I literally thought Green Bay was going to be the perfect situation for you, but it turns out it wasn't. Hey, we miss all the time, man. We miss all the time, but we're going to work hard to get you something there. Well, all those quarterbacks popped in my office, and we had a lot of fun. And you know what, man? I'm going to take a commercial break real quick here. And when we come right back, we'll talk about the Hall of Fame real quick. And then I'm going to talk about this Wheeler situation because I have some thoughts about this. And I'm going to show you who the guy is coming up next on the show. This is not Sports Unfiltered. I was about to say that, but this is the Gridiron Show right here on Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. Stay tuned. We are your show. We are that show. Well, we're heading for home here. We're getting into the final 2 minutes of the show. Well, not proverbially the final 2 minutes of the show, but we're about to wrap it up in a bit here on the show. And I want to say thank you for tuning on in. And if you've been enjoying the show, thank you so much for being with us here on this show. I really, really enjoy it. I really enjoy talking with you, as always, here on this show. It has always been absolutely fun. So, I have one more segment I got to do here, and I do want to talk about this here because I kind of didn't want to shy away from this. I have to talk about this. So here we go. Let's talk about this here. Before I leave you this week, I want to talk about this Chad Wheeler situation. He was arrested on domestic violence. He's the backup offensive lineman. He was arrested this week for beating his girlfriend. There are pictures out there, and they are absolutely sickening and graphic. There is details that are still coming out of this situation, and they are sickening. They are sickening, my folks. They are some of the most sickening details I've ever seen. This is worse than Ray Rice. This was a worse beating than the Ray Rice situation. And we know how bad the Ray Rice situation was. Let me read you the situation here. And I want to read this. And I want to read this without what's going on. I want to at least show you this guy and who it is here. Who it is. I don't think he's listed on the team anymore, but he was on the team. He's now no longer on the team. So here's a story here. Here's Chad Wheeler's story here. The former Seattle Seahawks offensive tackle Chad Wheeler was formally charged Wednesday following his arrest on suspicion of felonious assault and domestic violence. The King County Prosecutor Office filed criminal charges of first-degree domestic violence assault and domestic violence, unlawful imprisonment, and resisting arrest against Wheeler, a spokesman with the office told ESPN. He is accused of twice choking his girlfriend until she lost consciousness. Prosecutors request that Wheeler be placed on electronic home detention for his ankle monitoring device be equipped with GPS monitoring. Wheeler is scheduled to be arraigned February 9th, where he's expected to enter a plea. Earlier Wednesday, the Seahawks said that Wheeler is no longer with the team. In a series of tweets Wednesday, Wheeler wrote that in the events that happened over the weekend that transpired from a manic episode, I am deeply sorry for the pain and suffering that I've caused to the woman and her family. I apologize profusely for the turmoil that I've caused to my family, my teammates, fans, and those closest to me. The most important thing right now is that the woman gets the care she needs and I get help. Both are happening. It is time for me to walk away from football and get the help I need to never again pose a threat to another. I cannot express my sorrow or remorse enough. I am truly ashamed. The Seahawks released a statement Wednesday that read, in part, the Seahawks are saddened by the details emerging against Chad Wheeler and strongly condemn this act of domestic violence. Our thoughts and supports, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to do something here I usually don't do. I'm going to actually do this here. I'm going to show this. And I'm going to highlight the statement here, the key statement here. The Seahawks released a statement Wednesday that read in part, the Seahawks are saddened by the details emerging against Chad Wheeler and strongly condemn this act of domestic violence. Our thoughts and support are with the victim. Chad is a free agent and is no longer with the team. Wheeler was waived by the team on Wednesday per the NFL official transaction wire. Wheeler was arrested late Friday evening after the alleged assault at an apartment in the Seattle suburb of Kent, where he and the woman had been living together since November. According to the incident report and charging documents obtained by ESPN, the woman called 911 from inside a locked bathroom and said she was being killed. She told Kent police that she fled into the bathroom after Wheeler threw her onto the bed and choked her long enough for her to lose consciousness. At one point, she said he removed one hand, stuck it down her throat, and pressed it against her nose and mouth, trying to stop her from breathing while continuing to choke her with her other hand. The woman briefly regained consciousness before Wheeler pinned her down and choked her back into unconsciousness. According to the charging documents, the woman recalled attempting to roll away from Wheeler, only for Wheeler to finally grab her left arm and rip her body back towards him. The charging documents state that the woman regained consciousness for the second time. Wheeler calmly returned to the bedroom and expressed surprise, saying, "Oh, you're still alive." As she ran to the bathroom and locked it, sent text messages to friends and family as well as Wheeler's father asking them to call 911. She heard Wheeler tell someone on the phone and she believed it was his father. He said he was just chilling when the woman tried to flee out of the second door to the bathroom. When Wheeler entered and began apologizing profusely, she said. Police could hear a woman screaming inside the apartment. And reports state they forced entry into the unit and then into the locked bathroom where Wheeler was standing behind the woman. Reports state that she was crying in pain while her face was covered in blood and her left arm was swollen and limped against her body. She also had notable fingerprints on both sides of her neck, according to the report. The woman was asked by one officer if she thought she was going to die. He said, "I thought I already had." Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to say to you. I genuinely do not know. After reading that, I don't care if he ever plays another down of football with any other team ever again. He belongs, not right now. You know what the help you need right now? Jail. You deserve to be in jail. You deserve to be in prison. You deserve to be somewhere else. You deserve not to be on these streets, because if you had a manic episode and it almost killed a woman, and yeah, I've seen the pics. I've seen the pics. And the pics were so shocking. You had to, there was a little part of me saying, this cannot be real. But reading this, how in the hell are you even free? How? You didn't beat the girl. You tried to murder somebody. And then we go on in the story. They said they at least had to use one taser application was made directly to his body with little effect. 3 officers attempted to detain him. Wheeler said, sorry, and said, I don't beat women. He called out to the woman that he loved her. Wheeler refused to speak to officers, according to the report. The woman was taken to a hospital because of her pain in the left arm. Scans revealed a fractured humerus and dislocated elbow in the arm, according to charging documents. They noted that the white of her eyes have turned almost completely red with consistent signs of strangulation. Documents state that the scan of the woman's chest showed indication that she had aspirated fluids, that she vomited large amounts of blood the next day. She reported a sore throat, difficulty swallowing and eating, headaches, and neck pain, possible internal injury to the structure with her in her neck. You are a danger. You aren't, like, reading this, you deserve not to be in the NFL. I am so happy that you are fired, that they pretty much fired you. You deserve not to be even in the NFL because of that situation right there. To the woman in that picture and your manic episode and all that, you deserve not to be in the NFL ever. You should never be in the NFL ever again in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. If the NFL gave a lifetime ban, this would be the situation here. This guy is an embarrassment to football. Yet, I hear a lot of people say it is a matter of the NFL's personal conduct policy. And you know what, NFL? I know the NFL usually say, we have to go for this full investigation and all this. NFL, do the right thing. He needs to be gone. He needs to be gone. Because I'm reading this. He posted a $400,000 bill. He had no contest with women's surrendering weapon. He appeared in court Monday to determine whether there's probable cause to continue holding him in jail. He deserves to be held in jail. He needs to be there. I don't know what to say to you all. It's sickening. And you have to ask, how many times have he had manic episodes? You attempted to kill somebody. You attempted to murder somebody. This is not a manic episode. That is not a manic episode. That is not a bipolar disorder. That is not a manic episode. If you do that and you snapped into a dark place and you doing that and you snap a woman and you grab her by the neck and you try to kill her, that's not dark. Dude, you have no excuse. You deserve not to be in the NFL ever. You deserve never to touch an NFL football ever again. You deserve never to be there. You deserve never, ever, ever, ever to be there. You should never, ever, ever, you should never, ever, 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 ever again darken the NFL. And I don't use the word darken lightly. It is so sickening. The NFL has taken a lot of crap over the years for how they have handled domestic violence. They have taken so much crap, and rightfully so. In some situations, they rightfully deserve every connotation and everything, every negative comment they've gotten over that. They deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve everything. He deserves it. He deserves to never play another down of NFL football. And the NFL has, this is deserving. This is so deserving of him. He needs to never play another. He said, we encourage Chad to get the help he needs. The help he needs is to be in a jail cell. He should never play another down of football. He needs to step away from football. If he's experiencing mental illness, if you're doing that, no. Never, ever, ever again. That should never have happened in the NFL. And there is a lot of players who think that's... we get the knock of NFL is supposed to be brutal. It's supposed to be a man. It's supposed to be tough. You're supposed to be... This crap right here is never a part of the NFL game. Guys like him need to be somewhere else. But on a football field, no. You should never be there ever again. And that's the God's honest truth there. Should never be on an NFL. Should never be on an NFL field ever again. And you know what? I think he won't ever be on an NFL field. Well, let me do this here because this is important. Actually, let me do this. Let's do this here. Well, I want to remind you of a great show that's coming up later tonight. And as we get ready to get out of here, remember the Buckeye Bro show comes up at 8:30 tonight. Check it out. Check out Napper, Canty, and King Buckeye himself, Alex, as they talk about Buckeye stuff that you need to know. If it's football, you'll hear about it. If it's basketball, you'll hear about it on the show tonight. They'll talk a little bit more about the Buckeye football and what's going on with it and a situation going on with them. They'll talk all about it on the show. But for me, I'm very proud to say this is the show we wanted to do this week. This is what we try to do here, and we're still trying to find our legs here on the Gridiron Show. We aren't perfect yet, but we're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting there. We're still trying to find our legs, and we're still trying to find what we need to do and what works, what doesn't work. We'll try again next week to do it better. I want to say thank you for listening, and we're going to have more voices on this show. I promise you that much, because this show sucks if there isn't that many, if it's just me. But I want to say thank you for at least giving us a chance and an opportunity here. But he shouldn't. But yeah, I want to say thank you for listening and have a good one. We'll talk again next week here on the Gridiron Show. And we'll talk about getting you amped up for the Super Bowl. And next week on the show, we'll talk about weird side bets. Weird side bets. Yeah, we're going to talk some weird side bets. We'll talk all about that next week here. Stay tuned for the Buck. And just a reminder, if you want to check out the show, you can check out the Buckeye Bro Show coming up at 8:30 tonight. Make sure you have them a part of your day. Again, the Buckeye Bro Show, that's Travis Napper. That's Travis, Alex, and Will, all talking Buckeye, all talking the fun stuff you love and need in your life, because let's admit it, you need that Buckeye football in your life all day, every day. Check it out later tonight, starting at 8:30, going all the way to 9:30. Who knows? It might even go to 10. Right here on Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. It's the Buckeye Bro Show. Check that out. So on behalf of everyone here at Score on Air, I'm Deshaun Isaac. I would like to say good night, God bless, and thank you for making us a part of your evening. We'll see you again next week. Bye.